Okay, we are back with another video. Weird lighting. Another video review. Today we are watching a movie that I can remember watching as a kid over at my grandpa's house. If you were a white guy born in the 20s or 30s, the probability of you having an extensive John Wayne video cassette collection, it's high. I mean, you're gonna have it. As a matter of fact, my wife's grandpa probably had over 10 John Wayne VHS tapes in his bedroom when we were cleaning out the house. And in similar fashion, I have amassed certain, not all, John Wayne films. Probably the one that comes to mind when I think of John Wayne is The Searchers, but this movie, there's one scene in particular that always stuck in the back of my mind, seeing it as a youth. And I did not remember which film it was, but it was in this particular film. The other one that always comes to mind is Flying Tigers, one of his earlier ones, World War II era, and The Sons of Katie Elder. But today we are going to be reviewing The Cowboys, directed by Mark Rydell. And this particular film came out in 1972, and there is not a lot of information on Wikipedia. Wikipedia even instructed me to add more info to their article about it. It has a 135-minute runtime, rated PG, and it cost $6 million to make at the time and made $19.2 million at the box office. And for filler, I'm going to read the back of the box. All they wanted was their chance to be men, and he gave it to them. So when the dust settled, Wayne hadn't just cussed, roped, and bullied boys into men. He'd given one of his best performances in The Cowboys. A guy named Rex Reed wrote, "All the forces that have made him a dominant personality as well as a major screen presence seemed to combine." Yeah, I would agree with that. There were some amazing standout performances in this film. Great character actors were cast. Basically, the premise of this movie is John Wayne plays this aging rancher that needs to move all of his cattle on a cattle drive, and there's some gold rush going on, and all of his cattle hands leave, and so he goes to a local grammar school and recruits 11 young boys, and it's kind of a coming-of-age movie where you see these boys get shaped into men, and apparently they said that was kind of one of Wayne's strong suits as an actor, where he would play these father-type figures and help shape people into what kind of a coming-of-an-age situation, and they thought maybe he wouldn't be interested in it. I'm videoing here. Get out.
It's too late. I already interrupted. I'm so sorry. Bye. I love you all. Have a great day.
He didn't turn down the role, and as I read, this was one of his favorite roles. They thought maybe he would kind of be irritated having to act with all these young kids going on a cattle drive, but he embraced the role, and he embraced his kind of niche role as kind of a fatherly type of a guy to these young kids. Stirring soundtrack by John Williams. It was amazing. A very powerful soundtrack for a very powerful film that I cried watching. Very polarizing reviews. A lot of people do not like it because there's some things in the film that they felt like children shouldn't be engaged in to prove themselves being men, which I did not see that at all. And I don't want to give away any spoilers. Well, maybe if you're watching this review, you know about the movie and you want to hear what other people think about it. It's kind of like vigilante justice at parts, and a lot of people didn't like that. So this movie it has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 80%. IMDb is 7.4 out of 10. Google users are 64%. I can see why there's violence with kids, and it's a hard film to watch at some points. But I am a rare 5 out of 5 on this movie. I loved everything about it. The soundtrack, the scenery, the whole plot, the characters. Bruce Dern is a standout character as this villainous cattle rustler guy. And then there's this other guy, Roscoe Lee Brown, who plays like the chuck wagon cook, and he's just a very wise person in the film and just kind of a cool character. And obviously the John Wayne performance, it's just a very serious role, and he's an intense guy and a man's man type of a guy. But to me, even though it's in the Western genre, it kind of transcends that and goes into, like I said, coming of age, and it's just a deep movie. And I don't understand the 64% Google user scores. I guess that's just kind of like to each his own, right? Because my friend, I'm still going to review the South Park movie for Jonathan, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Anyway, I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen this movie, or if you have, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. It does have some profanity and violence, probably not for young kids. Probably 10 and up, I would say, is okay. But yes, check it out. It's one of the best movies I've seen in a long time, and I picked it up at the thrift shop last week, and I am so glad I did, because I don't typically go out of my way to buy John Wayne films, but I read the back of the box, and it piqued my interest, and I'm so glad that I brought it home, and it will be going in my permanent collection. Until next time, we'll see you then.